Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. You are here watching episode 3 of the Dipped Liquids test, and today is going to be using Sparkle & Co. liquids. If you're not familiar with the Dipped Liquids test and you've never heard of it, make sure to check out the rest of the videos under my Dipped Liquids test playlist so that you can watch the rest and understand what it's about. But basically, I'm going to be using one brand's dip powder with all these different liquids to see how the liquids hold up, because we all know all liquids are not created equal. So keep watching.
Sparkle & Co.'s liquids are a little different than most brands. It's definitely not a one-step, two-step, or three-step process. It is a four-step process. Their liquids come with a pH prep, which is essential in dehydrating and cleansing the nail plate before you start dipping. Alright, next up for the constant of this dip powder liquids test is Cuticle by Rebel Nail, the powder that I've been using with every single dip liquids test. My first step is to pull out my pH prep so that I can apply it to all 10 of my nails to cleanse, dehydrate, and prep the nail bed for dip powder application. This step is apparently important to make sure that your manicure lasts and does not lift. Once I was done with that, I moved on to step 2, which is the base balm liquid, and it causes the dip powder to super glue to your nail bed. I'm just looking at the top of the bottle. You can already tell that some stuck to the rim, and I was able to wipe it away with my finger. The bottle does have a wiper insert, so I'm really hoping that it's effective in preventing liquid from pooling around the rim in the future. The first layer of coverage is impressively really well for a first layer. There's no patchy spots. It's pretty opaque for a first layer application. I'm impressed. In case you've noticed, I am dipping on my natural nails this time, whereas the last 2 liquids tests I have done it on tips. I was able to grow out my natural nails to not need tips at this point. So I'm going to go over my nails with layer 2 of the base liquid and then dip into Cuticle dip powder. One thing that I have noticed about the liquids so far is they are extremely thin. Extremely thin. And I'm surprised with how thin that they are, that they're still keeping a good opacity level. The odor did start becoming noticeable after layer 2, but it wasn't bothersome. It didn't cause my eyes to water or anything. You just noticed it. Although I was super impressed with the opacity of layer 2, I am going to go in with another layer on layer 3 simply because more layers equal more strength. And that's one thing that is very notable about Sparkle & Co.'s liquids is they're extremely thin. Like, I'm not trying to thin them out when I take the brush out of the bottle. It's just naturally extremely thin. So something to keep in mind when you're using these liquids is you might want to go in for a 4th layer if you're used to thicker dips. So I'm completely done with adding dip powder, and now I'm moving on to the solidify step. This hardens the dip powder and it makes it easy for buffing and filing. I'm gonna file most of it off camera because it's just not a pretty sight and I wobble a lot. I am waiting a total of 2 minutes for my solidify to completely harden and do its business before I go in and file and buff. So Sparkle & Co.'s steps are a little bit different. After you put on your solidify, you have to wait a total of 15 seconds and then immediately go in with your top coat. So I kind of prefer this because I don't have to sit here and wait for 2 minutes for my solidify to completely evaporate. Now that I've done my first layer of finishing gel, I'm going to go in with my second layer of finishing gel, and then I'm going to wait a total of 3 minutes to ensure that the top coat is completely dry before I really do anything at all. So here's the true test on whether or not the top coat is completely dry and it does not streak or go matte after the 3 minutes. And it looks like every nail so far is passing the test. So I totally forgot to add this part in earlier, but I wanted to show you guys what the bottle of top coat looks like when you take the brush out. So there's a little bit pulling on there. You just have to make sure to wipe it off so that your bottles don't glue shut. And here's my finished manicure with 3 layers of dip on every single nail. I do wish that I had done 4 layers because I do personally feel like this is a little too thin for my liking. And here you can just read about my results and standard opinions about the durability, buffing, and odor for the liquids. I've inserted a couple clips from my Instagram stories. That's where I do my daily updates on how the liquid test is going. So I'm not going to spam you guys with those, but if you do want to see those for past and future liquids, just go to my Instagram and click on the liquids test button and you can see them all.
Thank you so much for watching that video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and make sure you hit subscribe so that you can follow the rest of my dip liquids journey, because there's still quite a few brands that have yet to try.